Our educational psychologist Anna Dale is joining me in studio on behalf of My Smart Kid to talk about school readiness, the 6 milestones your child should achieve. Now, the 4th milestone is emotional school readiness. Anel, why is this important?
Emotional school readiness lies at the base of all of this. If your child has got all the other concepts and they're not emotionally ready to deal with a formal schooling environment, you'll find that they're just not going to be able to perform.
Well, I think a lot of people think if the child is intellectual and they've grasped all the other milestones, emotional readiness isn't really that important. Do you find that, and is that true?
Unfortunately, and it's not the same thing. Some children are cognitively so advanced, but emotionally they just haven't quite got there. There's also a myth that all children are emotionally, sort of on the same level, and there's a huge variance at different ages. So it varies from case to case.
Well, I have a question for you that I think a lot of parents will be asking. My child is clever but can't cope in a social environment. When is it necessary to intervene?
I would say definitely before the grade R year.
Okay.
From the grade R year, group work becomes very important, and that carries on into the foundation phase. So it should be addressed before then.
All right. So now, if my child is clever and ready for school, why shouldn't I send him there a year early?
Because unfortunately, if they're not emotionally ready, your child is going to have a horrible time of it. They need to be able to be responsible enough to do work that they might not necessarily enjoy.
Yeah.
And a child who's not emotionally ready to do that is going to have an awful time at school and just not enjoy the whole process of learning and being with classmates.
How do you evaluate if your child is emotionally ready?
So some of the things we want to know is, like I said, is he responsible enough to do work even though he's not terribly interested in it? Will your child be able to tell the teacher if something's really wrong and not just sit and, the teacher has to go and have a look? But at the same time, can your child distinguish what is really important and what is not a major deal? Are they good at conflict resolution skills? Unfortunately, in a busy classroom, the teacher can't jump up every time somebody bumps your child's elbow. So those kind of things become very important.
Now, if it's a developmental issue, is it best to leave it to develop naturally?
Emotional school readiness is probably one of the more difficult things to try and work on, if I can say it like that. There are things, definitely encourage your child, teach them conflict resolution skills, encourage them to tell the teacher when something is wrong. But unfortunately, it has to do with maturity as well. And if your child is just not ready, you might want to give them another year to just catch up.
Now, what happens if a child is assessed and he's just not having a good day, he's sick or moody? Is that something to take into consideration?
Absolutely. That's I would even say if you're taking your child for an assessment and they are sick, to ask the psychologist or whoever's doing the assessment whether you can postpone. To try and judge a child just on one bad day is very unfair.
Great. Well, thank you for joining me for the 4th milestone, and I look forward to finding out what number 5 is.
Thank you.